Welcome back to the deep dive. We've all been there, haven't we? Just tirelessly networking, maybe relentlessly pitching ideas, constantly feeling like you're chasing things, opportunities, clients, sometimes just recognition. It's exhausting, frankly, and often it feels like you're just running in place. So today, we're digging deep into a principle that really challenges that whole approach, offers a path to not just influence, but to actually becoming a kind of magnet for what you want. Our source material for this deep dive is a really interesting excerpt. It's from The Law of Attraction and Influence, and the section is titled, Laws You Can Actively Use to Build Power, Influence, or Control Situations. And buried in there, we found this really profound, almost counterintuitive idea. Make others come to you, be the prize, not the pursuer. Okay, let's unpack this a bit. It sounds simple, maybe even a little bold, but how do we actually do that? And what does it really mean to be the prize in a world that often screams about constant hustle?
It's concise, that statement, but wow, it's basically a masterclass in psychological leverage. It's not just, a catchy phrase. It really is a blueprint for redefining your position in pretty much any interaction. It suggests we need to completely reevaluate how we think about influence, moving from all that external striving
Right.
to something more internal, cultivating something within. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if the most powerful position isn't the one doing the chasing, but the one being sought after?
Exactly, and that's precisely where it gets really interesting for me. The primary goal here is stated as make others come to you. I mean, that just flies in the face of so much conventional wisdom, doesn't it? We're always taught, be proactive, reach out, chase those leads.
Yeah.
So what's the fundamental difference between that sort of proactive go-getter thing and this idea of attracting others? Does it risk making us seem passive or, I don't know, maybe a bit arrogant?
That's a really important distinction to draw out. This isn't about being passive. It's definitely not about just sitting back and waiting for the universe to deliver. What's fascinating here is how it flips the usual script of active pursuit. It asks you to actively work on creating an environment, or maybe more accurately, a persona and a value proposition that just naturally pulls others in. Think of it less like waiting for a bus and more like building this unique, really desirable destination that people actually want to travel to.
Okay, I like that analogy, building a destination.
Exactly. The mechanism is about creating this inherent gravity, a magnetic pull. The entity being sought the prize, well, by its very nature, it holds a position of power or leverage, or it offers something significant, often unique. When other people feel compelled to come to you, it just fundamentally changes the power dynamic, automatically puts it in your favor. It shifts you from being maybe just another option, a commodity, to something closer to a necessity, or at least a highly desirable choice. Think about a top surgeon who's known for some incredibly rare procedure. They don't cold call hospitals, do they?
No, people seek them out.
Exactly. Or a tech company with some game-changing, patented algorithm investors are the ones knocking on their door. They've built that gravity through specialized value.
I love that phrase, cultivating inherent gravity. It feels empowering. It shifts the focus, like you said, from relentless outward chasing to more dedicated inward development, which sounds much more sustainable, actually. So, okay, if that's the goal making, others come to us, the source then tells us how. By learning to be the prize. Now, this is really the core of it, isn't it? What does that practically mean for you listening? How do you cultivate this prize status without tipping over into arrogance or just seeming aloof and unapproachable? Is it a mindset? A skill set? Something else?
Yeah, it's definitely not about arrogance. And it's not just a mindset, though. Obviously, mindset is a big piece of it. Being the prize, reading between the lines here, it seems to be about strategically cultivating and then, importantly, communicating your inherent desirability and your unique value.
Okay, cultivating and communicating.
Right. It's about really understanding what makes you distinct, what you offer, and then amplifying that so other people see it too. This takes a strong sense of self-respect, unwavering confidence in your own worth, and having a really clear, almost unshakable sense of your purpose and what you contribute. It means deeply understanding what you bring to the table that is maybe scarce or particularly valuable or just uniquely compelling in some way. Think about it. A prize isn't just something shiny, right?
Yeah.
Often it's something difficult to obtain, or it's rare, or it delivers some exceptional benefit. So practically, for you, the listener, it means focusing on your distinct competencies. What are you the absolute go-to person for? Do you have a rare combination of skills? Is your vision for something so compelling that people just want to be part of it? When you're crystal clear on that intrinsic worth, you start operating from a place of abundance, not scarcity.
Ah, okay. Abundance, not
Yeah.
scarcity.
Exactly. And that naturally leads to setting clearer boundaries, having higher standards for how you engage with others, and really focusing on your own growth, your own projects. It's almost like applying that scarcity principle from social psychology, you know?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
When something is seen as rare or highly valuable, and it's not just readily available for anyone, its desirability, its perceived value just shoots up, you effectively become that scarce, valuable resource.
That's such a key distinction. Operating from intrinsic worth rather than constantly looking for external validation. And it makes total sense that scarcity, whether real or just perceived, boosts value. So, okay, if becoming the prize is all about attracting, what's the real cost then? What's the downside of constantly being the pursuer? Because, let's be honest, we're often told, go after it, be proactive. Where's the line? And why does constantly chasing actually diminish our power or influence, like the source suggests?
Yeah, and this brings up a really, really important question about the subtle messages we send without even realizing it. When your main mode of operation is constant pursuit,
Yeah.
always reaching out, always trying to grab attention, always being the one to initiate, it subtly, or sometimes, yeah, not so subtly, signals neediness or desperation or maybe a perceived lack of self-worth. It essentially tells the other person, I need you way more than you need me.
Mhm.
Think about it in dating or sales or even trying to climb the career ladder. The person who's always calling, always following up, always pushing, they often get less respect, don't they?
Yeah, often they do.
Than the person who seems confident in what they offer and isn't desperate for the validation. So what happens then is this fundamental shift in the power dynamic. And you basically just give away your leverage.
You hand it over.
You hand it over. The person or the entity being pursued, they get placed firmly in control. They become the gatekeeper, they have the perceived value, and you are spending all your energy just trying to get access or approval. Now, look, this isn't saying initial strategic outreach is bad. Of course not. Sometimes you have to make the first contact.
You open the door.
You got to open the door. But sustained, desperate chasing, that's an exhausting and, frankly, often ineffective long-term strategy. It actually diminishes your perceived value, makes you seem less desirable precisely because you're so available and so eager. It's the difference between, say, strategically showcasing your unique value versus basically begging for attention. Big difference.
Okay, so it's about knowing when that proactive first step crosses the line into becoming an exhausting, self-defeating chase.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. When you're constantly pursuing, you're telegraphing, I need you, which, like you said, just gives away your leverage. So let's bring it all together then. What does this actually mean in practice? How does simply shifting from pursuer to prize actually translate into building power, influence, or control situations like our source promises?
Yeah.
This is where the rubber meets the road, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the synthesis. This is where it all clicks. When you genuinely embody this prize mentality, and it has to be genuine, a pretty profound transformation happens in your interactions and the opportunities that come your way. Because other people are now compelled to invest their energy, their time, their resources just to connect with you. You inherently gain leverage. They are the ones initiating contact, making the effort, trying to get your attention or secure your involvement or expertise. This act of seeking by others just creates this natural position of influence for you. Think about it. You're no longer burning all your precious energy chasing after opportunities or people. Instead, opportunities and people are drawn towards you, almost like, well, like a powerful current.
Like that gravity you mentioned.
Exactly, that gravity. And this position lets you be selective. It lets you set the terms of engagement. And it naturally attracts higher quality opportunities and often more meaningful connections too. You start to exert control, but not through force or manipulation or relentless chasing, but through the magnetic pull of your perceived and cultivated value. It's really about becoming that desired object or the indispensable resource or the unique connection everyone wants. And that automatically puts you in a position of natural command, of sustainable influence. Whether your goal is getting a better deal or attracting top talent to your team or even just, elevating your stand-up in social circles, the principle holds true. When you are the prize, others will come to you. And in doing so, they willingly, often unconsciously, cede a degree of influence to your gravitational pull.
Wow. Okay, that is such a powerful, really actionable insight from the law of attraction and influence. Make others come to you by being the prize, not the pursuer. It's a complete paradigm shift when you really think about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it feels profoundly relevant for anyone listening who's looking to build power or influence or gain more control over situations. whether that's in their job, their business, maybe even personal relationships. It's really about building this genuine, almost irresistible gravity around yourself.
It truly is. And it's important to stress, again, this isn't about becoming arrogant or aloof. It's about having a deep, profound understanding of perceived value and the sort of fundamental dynamics of attraction and human interaction. It's about internalizing your own worth first and then projecting that value outwards in a way that lets that magnetic pull do the heavy lifting for you. So maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to mull over. Where in your life right now are you maybe over pursuing? Where are you doing too much chasing? And where instead could you start consciously cultivating your prize status? What unique value do you possess that, if you really focus on amplifying it, could start making others come to you?